So, of all the varied and sundry uh, accusations against me, one of them is kind of cute, another false one. But I thought it was, how can I put it, interesting. Someone, I'm not going to use her first name, but we'll just call her Nutbag Nordstrom, for lack of a better name. She said I spent 88 days in jail. Now, that was some sort of code. It's not true. And there's 88 keys on the piano. So people like my lectures on math and music, and it all came from Pythagoras, but there have been innovators and there have been rebels in music. You want to talk about jailed composers, we can start with Igor Stravinsky. So what he ended up doing was inserting a dominant seventh chord at a very crucial point in the performance of the American national anthem. So the police allegedly warned him that a $100 fine would be applicable, and they busted him. So it's true. There's been a lot of them. Ethel Smith, you may not know her, but she was a suffragette during a time when classical music, other than Clara Schumann, was comprised of all male composers. And Dame Ethel Smith hung out with Grieg and Tchaikovsky and Dvorak and Brahms and a bunch of others. And she spent 2 months in Holloway prison, where there was a conductor named Thomas Beecham who went to visit her, and he found her conducting the singing of her fellow inmates with a toothbrush. So it gets very interesting. Eric Satie was a cultural anarchist, and he was hanging out with Jean Cocteau, and they created something called Parade, which on the opening night caused a ruckus, and Satie was thrown in the brink for 8 days. You'll see this with other composers. We talked about Bach. Bach spent a month in jail because he was mouthing off to his employer, who had a lot of power in the area. And what's really interesting is that he created the Orgelbuchen keyboard exercises while he was imprisoned. And I think that he also wrote a lot of the well-tempered Clavier, which explored different keys. And that really wasn't done before Bach. So it was interesting. There was a popular guy in the 30s and 40s called Ivor Novello, and he hung out with Gershwin and others of the Great American Songbook, and he was misusing petrol funds during World War II, and it was a big offense. And this is a British guy who ended up getting, I think, a month in jail. And even Franz Schubert, who used to have these crazy parties, and one of my ancestors used to hang out there. He was arrested by the Viennese police along with 4 others at a party. And what were they doing? They were drinking, they were having fun, and when the cops came, Schubert was drunk as can be and called the cops every name in the book. You see it everywhere. Beethoven at one point was arrested in the streets of Baden in 1820, and what had happened is that Beethoven had become lost, and he was hungry, and he was staring into people's windows, and he was very upset by the arrest. And he insisted to the police that he was one of the finest composers of his generation, which is true. So these things do occur, and they're real stories, and you can look them up.